Hello, hello. Hope everybody is having a good day today. We'll get started on this lesson about safety in about 30 seconds. Let me do my regular checks to make sure everything is working right. Hopefully it is. And once we know things are working, we'll go live and we will talk a little bit about safety. Looks like it is. We'll start in about 9 seconds, everybody. I hope you are all excited to be here. I hope you are ready to learn a little bit about safety. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about safety. We live in a world where sometimes things are nice and easy and safe, but sometimes there are things that are dangerous. And so as humans, we've designed and invented a number of things to keep us safe. Things that keep us safe when we're driving, things that keep us safe in the workplace, things that keep us safe as we go through our routine each and every day. So in this English lesson, I'm going to talk about all of those things that humans have invented in order to keep ourselves safe as we go through our day, every day in this world. And some of them are pretty cool. I find that human beings are very inventive people. We have come up with some really cool solutions for different types of dangerous situations. So thank you so much for being here. We'll get started now on this lesson about safety. Before we get started, though, I want to mention one really big thing. I've asked Dave and Todd to be extra vigilant about arguments in the chat today. I want to recognize that there is conflict in the world right now. And I do know that many of my viewers come from places where there is conflict in the world. What I want to suggest to you is this. Let's just use this hour to focus on the English lesson. I know that might be hard. Let's not use this time to argue in the chat. There were already some chat messages earlier before the lesson that I removed. Let's leave politics out of the chat. Let's enjoy the lesson as much as we can, because I'll say this, I don't think we're going to solve the problems of the world by arguing in the chat during an English lesson by Bob the Canadian. I think things are a lot more complex than that. So that is my request to you. Dave and Todd will be happy to remind people to keep things civil and polite as we learn a little bit about safety. I do want to say hi to a lot of people who are here. Hi to Key Park and Lolly Lolly and Audie the Thai and Norma and Linda. And I saw Speak English with this guy in the chat earlier. I know Eugene is here from Etobicoke. Eugene, thanks for the photos. I didn't have a chance to put them in my presentation. Hi to Apple the Frog. Hi to Nobody, interesting name. Hi to Pond Puni. Hi to Dragon. Hi to Musa. Let me scroll to the bottom here. Hi to Lolly Lolly and Mega Fanav and Hafiez and all of you who are here watching. Let me do one more audio check. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get this lesson rolling. Let's get started. So one of the first things that people say in the workplace, and there's often signs in the workplace, if you work somewhere where there's the potential to be injured, maybe you work in a factory, maybe you work somewhere where heavy machinery is driving around. A lot of times there will be a sign that says safety first. We say this in English because when people work in those types of jobs, we want them to think about safety. In the chat earlier, someone mentioned that at their place of work, they have a safety meeting every morning. And the first thing that gets said is safety first, everybody. So if you work in a job where there is the potential to get injured, often you will have a safety meeting and there will definitely be signs that say safety first, which means always think about safety when you are working in a dangerous place. So one of the things that is the most recognizable in terms of safety is what we call a seatbelt. A seatbelt is something that you put on when you get in your car. I have been wearing my seatbelt diligently ever since I have started driving a car. Before that, when I was really young, we actually had a car that didn't have seatbelts in the back seat when I was a kid. That just seems really dangerous to me now. But a seatbelt is something you wear in order to stay safe in case you have an accident, okay? So if you bump into someone or go in the ditch, or if you get hit by someone, if you are in a car accident, the seatbelt will keep you safe. And we've also added something called an airbag. An airbag is something that deploys. We always usually just say the airbags popped out, but the airbag will deploy when the car senses that you are in an accident. Very rapidly, the computer decides that the car is in an accident and the airbags will deploy, and then you will have this cushion, this big airbag full of air as a cushion as you go forward. Now, they help keep you safe, but I hear that when they go off, it's not exactly pleasant. It's just better than not having one. We also have something called first aid. You saw me in the thumbnail wearing a hard hat that said, I think, first aid officer or something like that on it. First aid is training that you get in order to help people who are injured. It doesn't make you a doctor or a nurse. In fact, you can get first aid training just on the weekend, but it helps you with cuts or scratches. It helps you if someone has, let's say someone is choking, you can do the Heimlich maneuver. That's where you press here in order to get something out of their throat. So first aid is training that you get in order to give a little bit of help to someone who has injured themselves or who has been injured. We have something called CPR as well. Let me make this a bit bigger. CPR is short for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So many people who have their first aid certificate will also have training in CPR. So CPR is the ability to do chest compressions if someone's having a heart attack. You're trained on how to put, I don't know the name of the machine, maybe Brent in the chat does, the machine where they put two little pads on and then it shocks you and it starts your heart again. They know how to do mouth to mouth, which is a way to get someone to start breathing again. But CPR is what we normally call it. And I actually had to look up the real meaning of cardiopulmonary resuscitation because I didn't know what CPR meant, because we just call it CPR. We just say the letters. And a lot of people will have a first aid kit. Even if you're not trained in first aid, you will most likely have a first aid kit somewhere in your house or at work. A first aid kit has some bandages in it. It has a variety of things that you can use in case someone gets injured. So there'll be gauze, which is like a type of bandage, and maybe actual bandages and those types of things. So Brett says, gee, I don't know the name of that machine. It's a defibrillator. Yes, that's definitely what it is. I don't know if I pronounced it right. Defibrillator. There we go. No, you're correct. We have one at our school, I think. It's in a box and on the wall. They're more common now in athletic venues. We also have what are called guardrails. When you drive along the road, there are places where the ditch is very deep or where it would be bad if you went off the road because maybe there's a lot of rocks or something. So someone decided many years ago to invent something called a guardrail. A guardrail, it's not nice to hit the guardrail, but it's better to hit the guardrail than go and hit the rocks or go in the ditch behind it. So these you will see in a variety of places along roads in many countries. Whenever there is something hazardous or a hazard beside the road, they will often put up what's called a guardrail to prevent you from going off the road. It still dents your car and you still need to get your car fixed if you hit a guardrail, but it's better than the alternative. And we also have decided that going up and down stairs can be dangerous. So we've added what's called a handrail along the side. So a handrail is something you can grab on your way up the stairs or on your way down the stairs in order to kind of keep your balance, in order to stop yourself from tripping or falling down the stairs. You can grab the handrail and use that as you go up and down. So this is a bit of a repeat. I did a lesson a while ago on construction, and one of the things I talked about was hearing protection. It's important when you work in a job, It's important when you work in a job where it's very, very loud that you wear hearing protection. Now, this can be just little earplugs that you put in your ears, but it can also be these larger hearing protectors, which you would put over your ears. If you worked, let's say, at an airport, if you were a baggage handler at an airport, you would probably wear hearing protection. If you ran a jackhammer on a construction site, you would wear hearing protection to protect your ears, because if you hear noises that are too loud too often, you can start to go a little bit deaf. So it's always good to wear hearing protection. We've decided that learning to swim is important, but sometimes even if you know how to swim, you can get in trouble when you're in deep water. And so a lot of times there will be a lifeguard. When we go to the pool in our local town, there are usually 2 or 3 lifeguards who watch the kids and the adults to make sure that everyone is doing okay, that no one is struggling to swim or sinking under the water. So often if you go to the beach, there might be a lifeguard, or there might be a sign that says, "No lifeguards on duty, swim at your own risk." But most of the places where we go to swim, there are lifeguards to help keep us safe. I think you'll recognize this hat. I talked about this in a previous lesson as well. If you work somewhere where there is the potential for something to fall on your head, or the potential for you to hit your head against something hard, you will most likely wear a hard hat. A hard hat is made out of very, very strong plastic. And if something fell on your head, it just wouldn't hurt as much. It'll hurt a little bit. So instead of getting injured, it'll bounce off the hard hat, and you might be like, "Oh, wow, don't drop your hammer, Joe." Joe's back, by the way, today. And if you work at heights in Ontario, Canada, if you work, I think, higher than 8 or 10 feet in the air, if you're working higher than 3 meters, I think you're required to wear a harness and to have that harness hooked up to a safety rope. So the harness is what you wear on your body, and then the safety rope is connected to some part of a building. Like if you're working on a building and you're cleaning windows, or if you're putting a roof on a house, you will be wearing a harness. So that's the part you put on your body, and you will be connected to a safety rope, so that if you slip or if you accidentally step the wrong way and you trip, the safety rope will prevent you from falling. The harness and the safety rope will keep you from falling. Hey, let's look at a few questions. Before we do that, I want to thank the 342 people watching. If you're new here, don't forget to click that red subscribe button over there, and give me a thumbs up if you like this lesson. Let me get to the questions, though. Let's see here. Where's my question form? Here it is. Looks like I have a few questions. Sia's friend says, "Hello, we're in the age of technology. Do you think we're safe online? Have a good day." I think it's important to have really, really good passwords. Your password shouldn't be like pencil. It's a bad password. If you know someone named Joe, Joe's password shouldn't be Joe. Your password should be very long. It should have uppercase letters. It should have numbers. It should have symbols. So I do believe that in this age of technology, it's important to have really, really, really good passwords. Oh, I just spilled water everywhere. That's not good. Well, luckily the house is really dry. I'll clean that up later. Let's get to the next question. Let's see here. This is from Sukana. "Hello, Teacher Bob. Do you think our kids these days are really wrapped in cotton wool? Have a great weekend." What Sukana means by that is that kids are extremely safe these days. We've put a lot of things in place to keep kids safe. And if you think about someone like me, when I was young, I didn't wear a helmet when I rode a bike. When I was young, my parents let me do things that I think weren't very safe. So in a way, yes, I think kids are well protected today, but in most situations, I think it's a good idea. Azam says, good evening from Iran. Do you run safety drills at school? At school in Canada. Earthquake, flood, fire, etc. So I don't have drills on this list, but that's a good one, Azam. At our school, we have fire drills. Okay, so usually twice a year, the fire alarm will go off and it's a fire drill. All the students and teachers will go out of the school and we have designated places where we need to stand. So if there's a fire drill, my class has to exit from a certain door and they have to stand 30 meters from the building in a certain spot. So that's the only type of drill we do. Let's see here. Yaroslav says, morning, wisest teacher Bob. No question today. Just want to wish you and everyone to stay safe. Thanks, Yaroslav. From Sela, we have, hi, teacher Bob. I hope you're fine. Electricity is scary. It needs a skilled electrician to achieve safety. Yes, I have electrocuted myself a couple of times. It is certainly dangerous and you need a lot of training so that you are safe when you work with electricity, for sure. Brent from Speak English with This Guy says, we have lockdown drills at my school. I hate them. I think they do more damage than they do good. So Brent, at our school, I think the fire drills are quite effective. A long time ago, we did lockdown drills and the students didn't take them seriously. They thought they were funny. So it wasn't a good drill in that sense because everyone thought it was funny instead of serious. So that wasn't good. You probably had a similar experience. Let's see here. Danny says, what is the difference between safety and security? Let me just check something here. Yeah, I think we're good. So the difference between safety and security, well, security has a lot more to do with making sure that, that a crime doesn't happen. So you have a security system so that you don't get robbed. When you hire someone to protect you, we would call them security. And places hire security guards. So security seems to me to be a lot more about preventing crime, whereas safety is a lot more about not getting injured. So although safety can be a little bit about preventing crime as well, right? Like you shouldn't walk through a certain part of Toronto at night because it's not safe. We're talking more about preventing a crime there. Let's see here. I'm only going to answer questions that are connected to the lesson today. Let's see here. But I do have one from Ty saying, hello, dear teacher Bob. I'm sorry for not watching your streams for the past weeks. No question today, but I hope you have a great day. I hope you do too. Henry from Taiwan. Great question here. Hi, teacher Bob. Since you live and work on a farm, do you have something like farmer's insurance to cover your work safety in Canada? Thank you. So we do not have that type of insurance on the farm, although we do have a broader form of insurance to cover that. But I do have insurance through the school that covers both Jen and I for any kind of accident anywhere at any time. So yes, we do have insurance for that, but not actual farmer's insurance. We have farmer's insurance for other things as well. Linda, dear teacher Bob, is it more commonly used the word plaster or band-aid? We use bandage or band-aid. Those are the two we use in Canada. I need a band-aid. Where's the box of band-aids? Or I need a bandage. Plaster, I think, is more British. So Alex says, hi Bob, the seatbelt will deploy even if the car engine is turned off. So let's talk about seatbelts and airbags. I'm pretty sure I can put my seatbelt on with the car off. I don't know if an airbag would go off if the car's off. I don't know enough about airbags and seatbelts to answer that question. Let's see here. So this is from Judith. Hi, Bob. Can you say an ambigram related to safety? Can you tell a word which has two opposite meanings, relating or not relating to safety? I feel like this is Judith's way of sneaking a little question in. Let me see, Judith, if I can find an ambigram about safety. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm trying to think about safety first and first aid. No, I can't think of one, Judith. Good question. No, good question. A couple more questions and we'll get back to the lesson. If you're one of the 364 people watching, this is the question part of the lesson. and I will get back to the lesson in about 2 minutes. Pray for the Best says, hi, Bob. Do you think you are a safety conscious person? I am. I think yes, most of the time. But when I've worked a really long day and I'm really tired or fatigued, I'm less safety conscious. That's when I think most accidents happen, when people are very tired. Itsuki, hi, Teacher Bob. I'm from Japan. Is it common to wear a helmet while riding a bike in Canada? Yes, very common. I think when my kids ride their bike in the driveway, they don't wear a helmet. But when you go to any Canadian city or town, when people are riding their bikes on the same street where there are cars, you have to wear a helmet, and people do wear helmets for sure. Let's see. Bobby, hi there. Since you're a teacher, what safety regulations are there in this school or in a school? Well, there are safety regulations about where kids hang all of their winter clothes. So when you have a winter coat and when you have a lot of winter coats hung up, I think they have to hang them in the hallway, not in the classroom. I think there's a safety limits in terms of if I climb up to hang something on the wall, I have to use an approved ladder. I can't stand on a desk. There are limits, like you can only have 30 students in a classroom or 35 because it's not safe to have more. And then we have a lot of safety rules regarding buildings. There has to be a certain number of doors. The building has to be built safely, etc., etc. So yes, not directly related to safety, but we do have building codes that we need to follow. Hey, let's get back to the lesson for a bit here. So we just talked about harness and safety rope. Let me see where we are. If you play sports, or even if you work certain jobs, you might have elbow pads or knee pads or shin pads. I know I wear knee pads when I do certain kinds of work on the farm. If I need to go down on my knees and work on my knees for a long time, I will wear knee pads. I know Jen, when she plays volleyball, will wear knee pads. When you ride a skateboard, you will probably benefit from wearing elbow pads and knee pads in case you fall, and even wrist guards. They have special wrist guards. And then the helmet. We had a question earlier about bike helmets. There are motorcycle helmets. People wear helmets when they go skiing. People wear a bike helmet. So definitely a helmet is a great way to protect your head when you do something where there is the potential to get injured. And gloves. Now gloves, there's a lot of reasons to wear gloves. Doctors and nurses wear gloves at the hospital to stay safe. When they examine a patient who is maybe sick and has a really bad disease, they might wear gloves so that they are protected. I wear gloves when I work on the farm. So I have work gloves that I wear when I work on the farm. If you go outside in the cold, you'll wear gloves so your hands don't get cold. Maybe, and even in certain sports, you'll wear gloves. Baseball players often wear batting gloves when they are up to bat so that they have a glove on their hand. So gloves are a great way to protect your hands and to keep your hands safe. And then there's the literal safety net. If you've ever gone and watched what we would call a high wire act or a tightrope walker, sometimes they do it without a net, but mostly they will have a safety net or a net below them. Now, the word safety net in English we use in a lot of ways. You could say this: I have $1,000 in the bank and I never spend it because it's a safety net. So you can use it to talk about any time you're keeping yourself safe in life. Maybe you could say, I have 2 jobs because I have the one job. It's just a safety net in case I lose my other job. So a safety net can literally be a net, but it can also be anything in life that protects you. Sorry, I'm just laughing at Ty's comment. It's an inappropriate comment, but I'm laughing anyways. We have created signs. Signs are one of the things we have created in order to have safety in the world, especially things like street signs. But you'll also have signs that say things like, watch your step. if there's an uneven surface. We have stop signs. We have signs that say the road ahead is going to be curved. We have signs at school that say, please stay 2 meters apart. We have signs now that say, please wear a mask. So we have decided that one of the ways to keep everyone safe is to inform people of things that are dangerous. So we have stop signs and all kinds of street signs to do that. We've also created what are called barriers. A barrier is something that we put up in order to stop people from going in a certain direction. Let's say the road was impassable because of the snow. Not impossible, but impassable. You could not go down the road. The police would put up a barrier. So they would put up a barrier that says road closed ahead. Sometimes when you go to a concert, there's a barrier at the front of the crowd, so they can't get to the stage. So we've decided that barriers are a good way to keep people safe, to prevent people from going places that they should not go. And in addition to that, we have decided that flashing lights, a flashing light almost always means pay attention or warning or watch out. So when you see a flashing light, when you're driving and in the distance you see a flashing light, you know that if it's a blue flashing light, it's a snow removal vehicle. If it's a red flashing and blue flashing light, it's probably a police officer. If it's an orange flashing light in Canada, it's probably construction. We have decided that flashing lights are a good way to let people know that they need to pay attention. Something up ahead or something needs their attention. And then I didn't know what this was called. I call it the backup beep alarm or the backup beep. But many machines and trucks and tractors in Canada and around the world now beep when they back up. So when I'm in my classroom, sometimes the garbage truck comes to our school and you can hear the garbage truck coming because the garbage truck backs in and it goes beep, 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 beep. I'm not very good at making beeps, but a beep or a backup alarm is something that we decided was a good idea. It warns people that a vehicle is driving in reverse because the driver maybe can't see everything behind them. So the beeping alarm helps warn people that a truck or tractor or something is coming. We don't have them on cars, by the way, just trucks and tractors and small equipment and backhoes and excavators and those kinds of things. We also have the universal symbol or warning that you should pay attention to what you're doing, and it's called a pylon. Normally they're orange. I don't know why I picked a red one. Almost all the pylons in Canada are orange, but pylons are sometimes placed on the street, and it's to prevent people from going where they shouldn't, but also to guide people to go where it's safe to go. So sometimes when there's an accident, they will put up pylons, but a pylon is just a handy way to warn people, especially when they're driving. And we also have flares. So I've never actually put out flares, but Jen and I were driving home the other day and it was very, very snowy. It was a very, very bad snowstorm. And all of a sudden up ahead, we saw 2 fire trucks, 3 police cars, and there were cars in the ditch. And the firemen, by the way, go to car accidents in Canada. I don't know if they do in your country. The fireman was putting flares on the road so that there was something very bright that people could see as they approached the accident. We have crossing guards. So crossing guards are people who, in Canada, I think they get paid and they go to schools usually in the morning and in the afternoon. That's how it works in Ontario, Canada. And they basically have a stop sign that they hold up to stop traffic so that children can safely cross the road. And then they go home and they come back at the end of the school day and do the same thing again. So a crossing guard can walk right into the middle of the street and all traffic needs to stop when the crossing guard is there. So that's something that we have in Ontario, Canada, and I think in many other parts of the world as well. When you are approaching construction on the road. We have what's called a flag person, but they don't have a flag. They actually have a sign. And on one side it says stop, and on the other side it says slow. And basically it's because traffic can't go in two directions because they're fixing part of the road, but there is one lane. So they let cars go one way for a little bit, and then at each end they flip the signs and they let cars go the other way. So that is called a flag person. If you have kids, if you have small children, you'll probably be familiar with these. These are called electrical outlet covers or outlet covers, because it's dangerous to stick things into an electrical outlet. Now, we have more modern outlets now where they're always closed. You can't push things in, but a lot of the older outlets look like this. And if a child was to put something metal into those holes, they might get electrocuted. As we mentioned, electricity is very, very dangerous. So we have outlet covers that you can buy, and they're plastic, and you stick them in all your outlets when you have very, very small children who are starting to walk and starting to explore your house. We also have what's called a baby gate. We had several baby gates when our kids were really, really little. Sometimes parts of your house are safe, but other parts of your house might be dangerous. There might be stairs. There might be, we have a wood stove in our house, and we didn't want our kids to go by the wood stove. So often parents will buy what are called baby gates, and they will put them in doorways, and it will stop children from getting from one part of the house to another part of the house that's not as safe. So let's see here. See someone in the chat. Let's get to the questions for that. I see someone in the chat say, why is the camera not focused? That's better. Maybe it went out of focus for a little bit. It looks like it's in focus now. Let me just check something here. Let's make sure that it's in focus. What I usually have to do is I have to do this. I have to cover up the microphone, and then it usually grabs me again. Hey, let's do some questions here for a bit. Let's see here. I'm just going to make sure it's in focus. Yeah, I think it's in focus. Sometimes the camera likes my microphone. It thinks the microphone. Let's see here. Kimmy and Kiwi from Korea. Good morning, Bob. Do people learn what to do in school to prepare for danger in Canada? For example, fire, earthquake, war. What did you learn when you were young? All we have learned is we do fire drills, and we have done lockdown drills where all the students have to stay in the classroom and we lock the door. But we don't really do many of those anymore. I do see in the chat, Eugene saying animal gate. A lot of people buy baby gates, but you can also buy, you can use them for pets as well. So if you have a spot in the house where you don't want your dog to go, you can put up a baby gate, or you could call it an animal gate. Geethma says, hey, Bob, how you doing? I'm doing quite well. Can you suggest some risky jobs in your country? So Canada has, one sec. Canada has oil fields in the province of Alberta, and those jobs are quite dangerous. You work outside, you work in very cold conditions. So you work on a place where there's an oil well, where they're taking oil out of the ground, or the, and it's just dangerous. There's a lot of heavy equipment. There's a lot of things happening that make it tricky. Daddy. Hi, Bobby. How often do you change passwords? Daily. I change all my passwords every day using a cipher of 64 characters. I'm not talking about my passwords. I change them very often. That's all I'll say. From Hafiez, hello, Teacher Bob. Flammable and inflammable mean the same? How so? I'm confused. Yeah, they do mean the same thing. Flammable versus inflammable. So basically, if something is flammable, it means it can be set fire to. If something is inflammable, it means that the substance is capable of bursting into flames. So yes, they mean very much the same. I think inflammable is even more potential to start on fire, but yeah, I'm not sure why we have two words for that. Let's see here. From Guess Who I Am? Apple the Frog. Hello, Teacher Bob. When there is a loud noise, do we use headphones or hearing protection or both to protect our ears? So On the farm, we have what we would call earplugs, so small little pieces of foam. We also have hearing protection, which go over our ears. People sometimes call them ear muffs, but ear muffs are usually for keeping your ears warm. And then headphones you can use if the headphones are designed really, really well. Sorry, I do have to just cough again. Sorry about that. I don't know what's happening. I don't have a sore throat today. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe I should have a drink of water. Let's see here. Stacy says, hi, Teacher Bob. Is it illegal not to wear safety gear riding a bicycle or scooter in Canada? I think you have to wear a helmet. I think the law states that you should be wearing a helmet. So I'm going to skip the next question. It's not on topic. From Henry, we have, morning, great teacher. This is my first question. What is the difference between hard hat and helmet? Thanks a lot. So a hard hat is definitely, it's like a hat. It goes halfway over your head. It's usually yellow or white or green, and it's solid plastic. A helmet, if you look at a bike helmet, it has straps. If you look at a motorcycle helmet, it goes all the way around your head. So definitely different. They're all to protect your head. A hard hat, though, is only worn on a construction site or in a factory or somewhere where you're worried. So it's something you wear for work to keep your head safe. Let's see here. I'm just skipping some questions that aren't on topic, just so you know. So this is from Leah. Hi, teacher. I hope you're good. How do you save your eyes from radiation and light of mobile and computer? So I don't wear anything when I'm using my computer. I don't have my screen dim at night. For the amount I use my computer, I should probably do something like that. But I do wear sunglasses outside to protect my eyes. But no, I don't wear anything to protect my eyes from the computer screen. Oh, here's one I didn't have in the lesson. Itsuki says, no question, Bob. My hometown is quite snowy, so it's necessary to equip a car with snow tires in winter so that it wouldn't, so that it doesn't skid or slide. Yes, I should have mentioned that. We also have snow tires on our vehicles. We use snow tires in order to make it so it's safer to drive in snowy conditions. So most days, like today, it's snowing a lot. I'm very happy that I have snow tires on my car. Let me check something here, people. Okay, let's get to the next question. Musa says, hi, Bob, are silos dangerous? Thank you. Have a nice day. Yes. So a silo is a very tall structure on a farm or beside a factory that stores things. It's a tall cylinder. They're dangerous for a couple reasons. The air inside can be bad, so you can have trouble breathing when you go in. And they're very high, so it's dangerous to go to climb up on them. Marcos says, hi, Bob. How are you doing? What do you think about safety while driving and talking on the mobile? Thanks. So people who drive and text, I get annoyed with people who drive and text. It's illegal to drive and use your phone, but I think that's less distracting. And my friend has a special earpiece, so he can talk on the phone with the earpiece and the microphone. I think that is safe, but I don't like it when people text and drive because they're often looking down while they're driving. Let's see here. Let's go back to the lesson. I think we should do that. Actually, I think I'm forgetting something, aren't I? Let's do members only chat. We're supposed to do members only chat right now, and I forgot. So let me turn on members only chat, and I will save that. And let's see if the members, so we are in members only chat mode right now. If you are a member, you can now ask a question directly in the chat, and I will continue to answer questions from the rest of you as well. I'm not sure if this is going to work because I'm out of questions, and I was supposed to turn on members only chat and I did it. So sorry, members, you might get a really short members only chat today. So from Betty Lou, hi, cutest teacher Bob. What is more important to you, safety or convenience? I always think safety comes first when it comes to websites. Stay hydrated. I think safety is more important. I know that it's more convenient sometimes to do things in a certain way, but I think safety is always the most important. I'm a big proponent of safety. That means I'm in favor of doing things safely. Audie the Tie, hi teacher Bob. I used to fall from the ladder when I was cutting tree branches. And that time I didn't do it safely, so it made me have surgery on the hamstring, and I couldn't walk for 2 months and run for almost 16 months. Yes, I'm glad that everything worked out, but I feel bad for you. That is a long time to heal up. Lolly says, hello, Bob. No questions at the moment. Thanks. Wanda says, hi, teacher Bob. I think that if you are too much self-confident doing an activity, this sometimes can cause accidents. What do you think? Thanks. And then Brent says, you're forgiven. Anyways, back to Wanda. I think that if you are too self-confident doing an activity, it can, yes, I think so too. Like, I don't need a safety rope. I'm going to climb up to the top of this tree and cut this branch off. Like, that can be sorry, I didn't mean to, I'm not making fun of Audie there. But yes, sometimes people will say things like, oh, I don't need a seatbelt. I'm a really good driver. And that could end up being bad. Freddie Wolf, hi, Officer Bob. I have no questions today. Just thanks for being the one who takes care and makes the first aid for my English lax. Best wishes from France. Yes, I am the first aid of English. That's me. Betty Lou, hi, the cutest teacher Bob. I'm curious, what comes to mind when you hear the word safety? Mine is passwords. I think for me, it's farm related because a farm is a dangerous place to live. So when I think about safety, I think about doing things on the farm because we have tractors and machinery, always thinking about how to do it safely. Keypark says, well, some kind of truck goes back here. It makes human speaking voice of going back, attention please, repeatedly as an alarm. That is cool. That I would notice that because that would certainly be unique. So I'm always confused if it says going back, attention please, or attention please going back. Yes, because it's the words come right after each other. Oh, that's funny. It's like when I was a kid, I would be backing up the tractor and my dad would say, I would stop and then my dad would say, go ahead, back up. So I wasn't sure if he wanted me to go forwards or backwards. Freddie Wolf says, in addition to the backup alarm, some trucks have cameras on the rear in order to see behind them. Yes, backup cameras or rear view cameras are becoming a lot more common on large vehicles, even on tractors as well. There's a lot of times where they have a small camera. So let's see here. Hey, I'm going to turn off members only chat. I know you guys only got like 3 minutes today, but we're going to jump back to the lesson and we are going to finish this lesson off. Let's get the next slide up. Where are we at here? Okay. Pillars and posts. So you can see here that around this gas pump, there are white pillars or white posts. You can use both words. I think I would use safety pillar or safety post. And I'm sure in England and maybe in the United States, they have different names. But we put these white posts, and sometimes they're yellow. Actually, they're more commonly yellow here, so that you can't accidentally drive into something. So you'll see these at gas stations. You'll see these in places where there's something they don't want people to accidentally drive into. They'll put posts around it in order to protect it and you. At night, many cities have streetlights. Streetlights bring a level of safety as well because the darker it is, the more likely people are to do things that are illegal. I don't have any data on that, whether that's true, but in my mind, when a city is well lit, I think there's less crime. I think that's how it works. So a street light is another thing we use in order to create safety. We also have alarm systems or security alarms. So people in their houses sometimes will have an alarm, but mostly people have these at work. So your work, probably when you go to work, if you're the first one there, you probably have to punch in a code in order to get into your place of work. And then that is a way to keep the building safe at night. So you have an alarm system to keep the building safe. And we also have car alarms. Now, car alarms have two functions. If someone tries to break into your car, the car alarm will go off. But if you, I don't have my keys with me. If you look at a key fob, there's also a button that will make your car alarm go off. So if you were walking in a parking lot and someone tried to take your wallet, you could push that button and your car alarm would go off and maybe scare the person away. In our houses, we have smoke alarms. We also call these smoke detectors or fire. Well, I'm going to say smoke alarm or smoke detector. We also have CO2 detectors to detect carbon monoxide. CO2, carbon dioxide. Yeah, interesting. Carbon monoxide detector. CO2 detector. No, I'm pretty sure it's a carbon monoxide detector. Don't quote me on it, but we have alarms in our house to warn us if there is fire or if there is smoke. And some buildings, not homes, but some large buildings also have a sprinkler system so that if there is a fire, water will simply start to shoot out of the nozzles in the ceiling and it will put the fire out. A good way to keep you safe, but if you're in the building, you will be safe and soaking wet at the same time. And of course, we have fire extinguishers. On our farm, we have 3 fire extinguishers. In our school, I think there's a fire extinguisher in every hallway. We have a fire extinguisher in our kitchen. It's just a good idea to have a fire extinguisher, at least one, even if you live in a small apartment, just in case you have a small fire, you have a way to put it out very, very easily. Sunglasses. So the sun doesn't necessarily damage your eyes, but certainly sunglasses are great because they help you see better when it's really, really sunny out. So hopefully you have a nice pair of sunglasses to wear when the sun is high to kind of keep you protected a little bit from the sun. It's not a big deal if you don't have them, but certainly if you are driving on a sunny day in the winter, when the sun is coming into your car and the sun is bouncing off the snow, it's a good idea to wear sunglasses to stay safe. And of course, if you're doing anything where you want to protect your eyes, you will wear safety goggles or eye protection. This is a very common thing to wear if you are building something in a wood shop out of wood, or if you're working somewhere where things could fly and hit your eye. You will definitely wear eye protection. And then we have yellow vests and orange vests, although these mean something else in France now. When people are upset, they protest wearing these vests. But often if you work somewhere where you need to be highly visible, when you work somewhere where you want people to be able to see you, you will most likely wear a yellow vest or an orange vest, and it will have reflective tape on it as well. When I drive by a construction site, when they are doing road work or road construction, everyone is wearing a yellow or orange vest because they want to be very, very visible. So it keeps them safe by making them highly visible. And of course, when you cook something in the oven, you can't take it out with your bare hands. You have to wear an oven mitt. The oven mitt keeps your hands safe when you are taking something hot out of the oven. Sometimes when you go to the vet, when we take Oscar to the vet, he has to wear a muzzle. Oscar does not bite people, but Oscar doesn't like the veterinarian. Oscar doesn't like getting needles. So when he goes to the vet, we put a muzzle on him so that he can't bite people. So definitely a muzzle is something that sometimes you put on a dog to prevent that dog from biting people. Sometimes on your phone, you get an alert. I actually got an alert last night. We have something in Canada called Amber Alert. Sometimes when a child goes missing, all of our phones will buzz and ring, and it will say Amber Alert, looking for a car fitting this description, child missing. Sometimes you get a weather alert on your phone and it says dangerous weather in the area. So sometimes you'll get an alert, which is kind of a warning telling you that something is is happening or going to happen that might be dangerous or that you need to know about. And then, of course, masks. Masks, we all wear masks now when we go out in public, but a long time ago, before the pandemic, masks were something you wore in order to filter the air if you were working somewhere that was dangerous. So you would wear a mask in order to protect your lungs so that you could filter the air when it came in and breathe a little more easily. Hey, I'm going to pop back over to questions. If there's a few questions left, I'm going to answer them, and then we will wrap this lesson up. Let's see here. From Lemon Cute, we have, do students in Canada often practice false alarms? In my country, some schools often have false fire alarms for students to practice in case bad things happen. So we call it a drill. We call it a fire drill. And yes, we definitely have fire drills. That is something that we do at least twice a year, I think. From Shad, hi Bob, what do you call the places that people hide in wartime? So we would probably call it a bomb shelter, where you hide in your basement or underground. Let's see here. Let me get the next question. So from Shania, hello teacher Bob, what do you call a phone which especially uses, is especially made for security guards to call us when there is a guest who want to visit? I don't know if there is a special name for that. Sorry, I don't. I think most security guards here just have maybe a walkie-talkie is what you're talking about, which is not really a phone, but it's like a way for two people to talk to each other. We would call it a walkie-talkie, I think. Hey, that's all the questions. Thank you so much for hanging out and learning a little bit of English with me. Thank you for keeping the chat civilized, and thank you for just enjoying the English lesson. I do want to say that there is a new video coming out Tuesday. I will be doing a live lesson next week, Friday again, so please join in. And I do want to just say thanks to a few people. So let me just check one thing first. Don't leave yet, because I have this sneaky suspicion. Let me just check something. I'm just checking something on my computer because I have a feeling, where did that go? I don't often not talk for this long, do I? Let's see here. I'm checking one small thing because I have this feeling that, yes, there we go. Starting in 8 minutes. So Brent, over on his channel, let me get the link. If you want Brent's live English lesson, if you want to go and learn some more English, Brent is doing a live lesson starting in 8 minutes. You have plenty of time to make your way over there. I just put the link into the chat. So Brent, and I think Jamie, his wife, might be joining because she's in the thumbnail. You'll have to see. Head over there and say hi and enjoy his company as well. Anyways, thanks to Dave and Todd for keeping the chat awesome. Thanks to Brent from Speak English with This Guy for hanging out. Always good to have another English teacher here. Bye to Lemon Cute and Judith and Yaroslav and Stem and Wanda and Lolly Lolly and Linda and Key Park and Unsul and Samira and Stephanie and Judith and Lemon Cute. And I'm saying things twice now, aren't I? Thanks for all being here. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And I look forward to doing another lesson with all of you next week. Bye.